Hello all people. I hope everyone is good. So it was such a pleasure in joining you all today, and it's a completely pressure that I'm going to share with you, where we are going to discuss some of the main important details regarding the data protection. So I'm going to share my screen, so do bear with me on that. And I believe you all could see my screen. And yes, I hope everyone could see my screen. Yeah, okay, cool. So maybe I can minimize this, and I hope things are clear now. Yeah. So as I said, व-Vembu Technologies has it's so having its own glorious time with software sources in the region of Israel. Now here we organized a webinar along with software sources, our partner for the व-Vembu products in the region, where we were discussing about the data protection. It was Amir and Gur came up with a concept asking us for a webinar related or specifically for the Israeli service providers, SMBs or resellers for them. So it's to the region how व-Vembu could satisfy your requirements. So that is what we're going to talk about more in detail in this session. So as the webinar title suggests, it's how Israeli SMBs and MSPs can prevent the downtime on ransomware with BDRShield. There is a lot of detailing in this webinar title, where I would also love to say that this is specifically for all sort of businesses, all sort of service providers, as well as the resellers of the market. Now, why this topic at this mean of time when I'm just having a data protection to talk about? But this, why we came up with this webinar title is something that I can discuss in my successive slides. But as you say, I am Pranav from the व-Vembu Technologies, and I serve as a product manager over here for the BDR suite of products, BDRShield products. Now, I just wanted to give a small overview about व-Vembu for most of the people over there in Israel. So, व-Vembu Technologies is a firm which is founded in the year 2004. It has its headquarters in the southern part of India and offices in United States. Now, serving this data protection market for more than 2 decades, we have a global presence in 100+ countries, with our footsteps in more than 100+ countries, I would say. And we have our partner base of around 4,000+ around the globe, and one such partner, Software Sources, is for Israel specifically. Now, that is a vision and mission when we organized this. When we jumped into the market of data protection, we had a vision that we wanted to provide an enterprise-class, feature-rich backup and disaster recovery solution for the small, medium businesses, the service providers, and enterprises. Obviously, that has the enterprises features within it. So we wanted to provide this at a cost-effective price range where people should be able to access things easier, and we wanted to deliver the product at a simple range at an affordable cost, but no compromise on the quality of data protection. So that is what we were planning, and that has been our mission and vision so far, our solution. Now, these are the global brands who trust or use our software till date. So there are only a lot more, because due to NDA, we just projected what has been shown here so far. There's a global brands using our solution. Now, as I said, we had a concept of bringing in this topic of the webinar specifically for Israel at this time. So the reason being that when we analyzed, we did find there were some of the threats that SMBs and MSPs are facing in Israel. So as per my record of data, which I have in the year of 2024, Israel ranked among top 10 countries which hit by a ransomware or targeted by a ransomware or the hackers around. That's the 2024 year data for you. And when I say that it is being targeted and it is one among the top 10, the highly targeted ones were SMBs. The reason being that these SMBs were the primary target because of the security budget, which was low, they considered. And that is why the SMBs were primarily targeted. And MSPs had their own lucrative targets for supply chain style attacks, majorly I would say cyber attacks. That's completely because of the lucrative targets that they have. So these threats, which I said, that was threatening SMBs and MSPs of Israel, were completely due to the ransomware. That the threats that included was the ransomware, the phishing, downtime from attacks, and a compliance risk that led to these threatenings. Okay, so these were the things that did face or that did pose a major threat to the Israel service providers as well as the small medium businesses. Now, what has been an impact of that threatenings or the threats that have caused? So I would say during the period, the high ransom demands were made, where you could see an average cost in Israel exceeds up to $250,000. That's huge. So that was an average cost that because of a ransomware that you had to pay to the ransoms. That's a high ransomware that you went through. And a downtime, you did face also a downtime of average around 16 to 21 days to completely recover things up and enter into the market again. So that literally took around 16 to 21 days on average. There were some business closures. Majorly it was the SMBs because of these downtime and ransomware impacts, which directly had a 60% of shutdown with the SMBs within the 6 months of period. Now, the regulatory penalties, because there were some data protection which did not meet up to the Israeli laws or the GDPR or any of the reputational international standards, and those fines were also huge charm. Okay, so that is what I have a comparison that states that the cost of the downtime equals the cost of the prevention. So that is what you compare. So higher the cost, you'll have the lower the cost on the other side. Okay, so it is vice versa. When you higher the cost of prevention, automatically your downtime cost would be low. When you lower the cost of the prevention, that is the previous slide that mentioned that when you lower the cost of prevention, automatically the higher the cost of downtime would be. So that is literally the vice versa, which has a direct impact on each of us. Now, I said why we had this webinar title, and I explained about what was the threat and how did it impact Israelis for so far. Now, what is the strategy to stay ahead of these threats? So those strategies, that is regular one, which everyone says, always have an automated type of backup. Ensure that you have a hybrid approach where you have a copy of the data locally as well as you have a copy of the data in the cloud, something of that sort, and so that you can switch to anyone immediately. And make sure if it is a defense sector or you're serving a defense or you don't want any internet to be allowed in, then ensure to have immutable air gap backups to block ransomware tamperings. So that is a major one. And instant recoveries to keep your downtime near zero. So that is like, you do take a backup of your data, but how fast you restore the data is very important to ensure that you fall in the line of business continuity. So in that case, when you have instant recovery options, that will ensure that you are into business continuity within no matter of time. And that is what is very important when you consider a backup and recovery solution at this case. Okay, so in the overall, you should ensure that you have an automated solution. That solution should support a hybrid approach, and it should also have the latest things that keeps the ransomware at the bay. And also you should have the instant recovery options that keeps your downtime to near zero. So that's what the strategies, I would say, to stop down or cut short on your evolving threats in Israel, specifically on the digital space. Now, on this course, I wanted to give an overview about the product, because this is the space of market in which we are playing. So on that note, I would like to introduce you to our BDRShield, which was previously called as BDR Suite or BDR Suite of Products or the BDR Cloud. Now we call it as BDRShield, my dear ladies and gentlemen. This BDRShield by ve-Vembu is a cloud managed hybrid backup with cyber resilience. The reason that we are launching it now, or I would say I'm bringing it to your notice now, is because our future is going to be towards the cyber resilience, and everyone is going to enter into a mode of serverless atmosphere as far as digital space is concerned, where your cloud is going to get its importance. On that note, we have this BDRShield launched by ve-Vembu, where you have the cloud first deployment without heavy infrastructure bringing into the point. The reason being that, though I provide a BDR suite software, to install this software, you would require a hardware or a minimum infrastructure. So that would again try to break your banks. So for that, we ourselves are launching something called as cloud first deployment without heavy infrastructure requirement. Then it's completely a centralized management console with a multi-tenancy feature. So all the software solutions that you're bringing in should have this feature, because centralization is where we rely on at the last. You don't have multiple plugins to dive into, so this cut shorts the time. Everything centralized, one single window, you manage everything from a click of a button, and that too in a cloud console. That's something futuristic. And you have the hybrid storage support, where you can have a copy of the data locally, and you can also have a copy of the data in the cloud. So if any one phase of the data or the platform of the data is affected, you still have another platform to continue with your business. So that's the hybrid storage support that we provide. And unified backup, recovery, and resilience for endpoints, servers, virtual machines, cloud environments, that is cloud instances, and SaaS applications like Microsoft 365 and Google Workspace. I'll run through that in detail in the later slide, but this is what we support from one single centralized window. Okay, so and to protect yourself from ransomware, we have this immutable storage support and ensure the data integrity with an automated 3-tier verification process for all your image-based backups. And this BDRShield is it's an ideal one for every stakeholders, from in-house IT teams to the service providers or the channel partners in Israel. It could be your personal data, it could be a small business data, or it could be a huge business or medium business, or it could be a service provider's data. Anyone, you can ensure that BDRShield would have a secure of your data. So this is what we see. And with BDRShield, it has the features that helps you to comply with international regulations such as SO2, that is SOC2 type 2, that is, and HIPAA for all your medical users, GDPR, and much more, and or even the local Israeli laws related to data protection. So these are all something which has been ensured by a cloud managed hybrid backup solution by ve-Vembu, that is BDRShield. Now I just said about a BDRShield. Now I need to define how can you manage your backups with the BDRShield. There are two little consoles, my dear friend. One is a cloud management console. That is the recommended one, as I said, because you don't have to have a heavy a server, a separate or dedicated backup server to install the software and to run things from your end. So it is the cloud console that we are launching. So the future of backup is cloud management, as I said, majorly for all the service providers and for easy rollouts. So here you don't have to involve any hardware or a separate maintenance cost for that, because if it is a cloud solution that you're leaning up to, and your accessibility for your data from anywhere around the clock is easy for you to restore your data on the go. And since it is centrally hosted, you can try taking a backup of your endpoints, as I said, windows of virtual machines. You have the cloud instances, everything from one single window, and anywhere around the globe you can just launch it and you can try taking a backup, and you can even restore things around the globe from any point in time. Now this BDRShield that we are popping up would have the ransomware protection features also within it. So that feature includes the immutable backup storage as of now. And we are a lot more going to introduce, like anomaly detection and pre and post scan of data before a backup and after a restore. That is all something that we are bringing up in our immediate roadmap. That is, you'll be having that launch soon. Now these are for the cloud users. Now there might be users who say, no, I don't want to log into any internet. I just want my data and everything within our gapped environment, because this is related to defense or it is related to anything within the Israel region. So in such a case, we understand that requirement, and we still provide you the download option for the BDRShield, which will be locally at your end. Everything will be locally managed from your end, and it's into the air gap solution where we can even provide you with offline licenses. So you don't have to worry to connect with the internet at all. It will be within your local network. Okay, so we have that option also. So as far as the BDRShield is concerned, like the initial recommended one would be the cloud management console. But if the user prefers to go with the local installation at his local air-gapped environment, he can also go with the vacuum source of the BDRShield software to be installed at his end. Okay, so this is how you take a backup. I understand. Now, what workloads can this BDRShield protect? That is what I was trying to give. So, our diverse IT workloads support is what we are planning. And as of now, we have the support for the endpoints, specifically the desktop and laptops of Windows, Linux, and Mac. And then you have the backups for your physical servers. That could be either your Windows servers or your Linux servers, and the virtual environments of the hypervisor platform could be either the VMware, the Hyper-V, the Proxmox, the KVM, and overit. We provide an agentless VM level backups for these virtual machines hosted on VMware, Hyper-V, Proxmox, KVM, and overit. whereas the endpoints and servers will go with agent-based solution though. And there is support for databases, specifically the SQLs of Microsoft, MySQL and PostgreSQL, and includes applications such as Exchange and SharePoint as well. And we support SaaS applications like Microsoft 365 and Google Workspace, where you will be taking a backup of your user mailbox, which includes the mails, contacts, calendars, OneDrive in case of Microsoft 365, and Google Drive in case of Google Workspace would be shared with you. Okay, so that could be taken a backup. And along with that, if you have your instances hosted on AWS, like the EC2 instance on AWS or the Azure VMs on the cloud, obviously you can take the backup of those using their native snapshots. And you can also take a backup of your NAS or file shares that easily, we could take a backup of it at a file or folder level and store it in your desired storage. So these are all the environments that we can try taking a backup from that one single window that I was pitching on. Okay, so as of now, the BDRShield, which you have it in cloud, has a support for endpoints, the physical servers, and the SaaS, specifically the Microsoft 365 and the NAS as of now. Soon we'll be launching for other environments, but the on-prem software of BDRShield has all these features built within it. Okay, now said that, I already mentioned that it's a hybrid solution. Now it will show you on how you are going to store your backup of your data. So you literally have the privilege of storing the backup anywhere. That includes your on-prem, it includes your own public or private cloud, or if you want to store your data in our व-Vembu cloud, you still have an option to store that over there. Now, this is one single solution that has the privilege or allows you to store your data both on-prem as well as in cloud, as I said. But even in cloud, there are two little options where you get your flexibility to store your data in your own cloud, or you get to store it in our व-Vembu cloud. So as I said, the on-prem would include your local disk. That could be your SSD or HDD or any local disk that you point in, or any of your deduplication appliances like Dell Dota Domain or HP Store Ones or something. And it could be your network drives like NAS or SAN that you bring in. And you also can archive your data in tape. Now, when I say the archival process in tape, it is actually a disk to tape model, not a direct tape model that we support. So it's a disk to tape model supported from LTO 4 and above. And the major one is we support this for image-based backup. Archival of data in tape is supported for image-based backup. So that's for the on-prem storages. And on your own public cloud, it could be your own S3 bucket of Amazon, or it could be your Azure Blob, it could be your Google Cloud, or any of your S3 compatibles like Wasabi, MinIO, Blackblaze, B2, anything of that S3 compatible. You can use that details of your own cloud, connect it with the solution, and you can get your data stored over there. And if you say that you don't have a separate cloud storage of your own, then you can rely on our cloud storage. Okay, so this BDRShield will also have an option to store your data in our cloud storage, and that cloud is secure and cost effective as well. Okay, so literally we have 3 options of storage. Now let's have a solution overview of what all is possible. So as I've previously explained, you will have an file and folder level backup for all your Windows, Linux and Mac, and a disk image level backup is supported for your endpoints and servers of Windows alone. A disk image level backup is you take a complete state of the system and you'll be able to restore the complete disk or the state of the system by performing a bare metal restore. And you also have a SaaS-based backup specifically for all your Microsoft 365 and Google workspaces, and an agentless VM backup for your VMware, Hyper-V, Proxmox, KVM, and overhead. Agentless cloud VM backup again for your instances hosted in AWS EC2 and your Azure VMs. And your database is obviously an agent-based granular backup again, where you'll have a backup for MySQL, PostgreSQL, and MS SQL. Okay. Apart from this, we also support the applications of Exchange and SharePoint of Microsoft. Now, that's the solution overscope for you. Now, why this BDRShield is an ideal one for service providers? The reason being that though it is a centralized management console on the cloud, the end privilege of a service provider is that he ensures to have a grouping for his customers using the multi-tenancy feature. And this multi-tenancy feature comes up with a role-based access control, so he can, when he groups his users, he can provide them with the privilege to restore or read only. Not only that, this grouping of the users will not have the privilege for one group of user to see what another group of user has taken a backup. So that's literally what the multi-tenancy serves you as a service provider. And then you have the branding feature. So wherever you see a logo on the screen, you can change it to yours. So this branding we provided directly. So wherever you see that branding feature, you can change it to yours. You can put your logo, you can change the product name, you can change the contact details, and you can even change the favy icon that you see on the web console. So that's all the options that we provide using the branding. And we also provide an integration with any PSA or RMM tools. As of now, we have an integration with ConnectWise directly. And we also provide this web services API that would help you on the integration as well as for the automation purposes within the Shield. And you have the flexible licensing and per workload pricing. So that also I'll bring it up. You'll have the monthly billing, you have the pay as you go model for your cloud workloads as well as for the licenses that you're going to purchase. And there is a separate partner portal from where you will be managing all your billings and licensings. And you can also manage your customer accounts from that. This is what the BDRShield will be providing for the service providers or value-added resellers from our end. So you can manage things from one single console. Now, what would be the core value of proposition that this BDRShield would provide to all the Israeli partners over there? One, it's all-in-one backup platform. Second, the centralized management feature. And you have the MSP-friendly multi-tenancy co-branding feature that you could see. It's one edition. There's no multiple edition that you have to rely on. There's no community edition. There's no, standard edition or enterprise. Nothing. There's one single edition to cut short on all the complexities. So only the two things that you have. One is the paid edition. That's it. Now you can store the backup anywhere. So you can decide where you want to store it. Could be your own storage or it could be other storage. You have the ransomware protection where you have immutable backups to be availed. You have the 3-2-1 backup policy where you can have 3 copies of the data to be stored in 2 different storage medium and 1 to be an offsite. And you also have the pre or post scripts as of now. And future, you'll have even the anomaly detection coming up. Cost effectiveness, since you have one edition, we'll provide you with a complete savings compared to any other competitors in the market that you can rely on. And a flexible licensing with 24/7 support. And this is why we have been serving in this market for more than 2 decades, and we have consecutively been on the customer's leaderboard, which you can check it in our G2 Cloud Strike platform, or you can just have a PeerSpot, trust radius, all these review sites projected us consecutively for the years of 2024, 2025, and previously for those years as the leaders on their market because of the flexible pricing and the 24/7 support that we offer. Now, we'll just touch about the licensing and pricing as well. See, the licensing options, we have both subscription as well as a perpetual model. And this pricing model will be like per server basis, workstation, or that is either workstation or endpoint. It is per entity basis, like per workstation or per endpoint basis, per user basis as far as SaaS is concerned. Now, as far as storage device is taken a backup, like NAS or file share backup, it includes per 500 GB. For per 500 GB a set, you will be charged. And while going for a VM level backup, it could be per VM or per CPU socket basis. For a cloud instance, it could be per instance or per VM over here. And database level, it's per application level. And the shield is optional. Only when you choose to store our data in our cloud, you'll be storing our data on a per GB basis. So it's a pay-as-you-go model in the cloud for BDR. I mean, when you store your data in our व-Vembu cloud. Okay. Okay. So this we have literally explained or came up with the detailing about what we have and how we are doing it for the Australian market. Okay, so obviously, like if you have any request, you can just relate it to a one-on-one demo, or if there is any detailing of the pricing or details, you can always reach out to our partner software sources. So they'll be helping out to you. And if you want to get started with a trial, you can always reach out to the partner again. So they'll reach out and we'll be providing you with the local support. And any initial technical field of support you require, you can reach out to the partner software sources again for that. Okay, so this is what, as a backup and disaster recovery solution, this new BDRShield would do. And a lot more to the market we are going to add upon to the futuristic solution of data protection, like the cloud ones, which I said will be something that adds more value to your data protection. Now, said that, I would love to show you a console of the BDRShield. So this is how your BDRShield would be looking like. So I've just taken a demo console for now. So this, as I said, it's an all-in-one solution. So I'm just gonna project something which is related to it. Okay, so here you go. So as I said, this is one single solution. So here you have the hypervisors and service endpoints, which includes a VMware, Hyper-V, Proxmox, KVM over it, and servers and endpoints as well. Okay, and you have the cloud workloads of AWS and Azure. Then you have the backups for Microsoft 365 and Google Workspaces, and then even your applications and database of SQLs and PostgreSQLs, MySQL would be supported from this window. So all such in one window. You have the storage to be on your local storage. That is, block storage is going to be your local storage, and your cloud storage, object storage, is going to be your own cloud storage. So it could be your own cloud storage that you can use up your data with. And management, specifically, you can add a number of users, provide them with the required privileges. Then you have the branding. So here is what I said. This brand, majorly for the service providers and the value-added resellers, you can add, you can change the company name, you can change the product name, you can change your company logo, you can change your favicon icon, the support document, everything that you can change it up. Okay, but the solution is ours, but you will have that branding feature. And you can have the tenancy here, where you can manage your tenants, you can create tenants from this console and provide them with the required privilege, like restore only or read only, that will serve them the requirement. Okay, so yeah, So this is a backup where I can configure the backup for virtual machines, Windows, file shares and disk image, Linux at a file or folder level, Mac and NAS at a file or folder level. To all these, I would need to, for the servers and endpoints, I would need to download my agent. I need to download this agent and have this agent installed on each of the machine by taking a backup. So we also have a bulk agent deployment for your Windows workstation or servers or Linux workstation or servers. As it goes, you can download the agent or push it through your AD by creating a group policy, or if you have a own RMM tool with which it is connected, you can use that to push things up and ensure a silent installation with the steps that is given here. Okay, so this is possible. Once you add, you can try configuring the backups from this window. And once you have the backup, you have the option to restore the data. So if you would have configured an image-based backup, like all the VM level backup and the disk image backup of Windows, these are mentioned as image level backup. So when you configure such backups, you will have the feature of multiple recovery options. So you have the feature to restore your data, and there are instant recovery options like instant boot VM and disk mount, which will help you to restore your data less than 15 minutes. So this ensures a business continuity for you. And even you have a granular restore options where you can restore your files and folders granularly from the complete VM or disk image that you have taken. And also, if you have enabled an application aware processing while taking a backup, obviously the applications running within the virtual machines or the physical machine of Windows can be restored granularly. Okay, there's a granular restore option. You also have a recovery to Microsoft Azure, which is a permanent recovery option though, where you can spin up your local machine as a virtual machine in your own Azure account. And you have the full VM recovery to the respective targeted VMware host. And you also have download disk option where this ensures a cross-platform migration where you can even download the data into multiple file formats like VHD, VHDX, VMDK, flat VMDK, and raw file formats and suit it up in your required solution. Okay, so that's the literal restore options that you get with multiple recovery options. And as I said, you can have multiple copies of your data. So you can have a backup copy for your image-based backup. So if you have the primary copy relying on your local storage, you can have a secondary copy on your cloud storage. And you can also have an offsite copy. So even if your backup server crashes down, you'll still be able to restore your data from your offsite location. All that you need to do is you need to install an offsite DR at your DR site. Okay, and you have the tape archival as well. So literally there are 3 copies of data you can keep. Like one copy is your primary copy, second is your backup copy, and third is going to be your archival copy for your image-based backup. And then in 2 different platforms, one is an on-prem and one is on cloud. So 3, 2, and 1 to be your DR copy. So literally it satisfies your 3, 2, 1 backup policy requirement. Okay, so and you have VM replications for VMware and Hyper-V where you can fail over and fail back your VMs on a planned manner. So this is what you have for agent level, VM level, and disk image level backups. Whereas in the case of workloads, you will have multiple recovery options. Though it is a native snapshots that takes a backup, you would be able to restore your data, whatever the snapshots. You can even have a copy of that snapshot locally, and you can bring it up as a disk mount or download disk or a VM recovery from the repository or a file and folder level recovery from a cloud snapshot that we have taken. That is all possible with the cloud workloads. SaaS applications, majorly your Microsoft 365 or Google Workspace that you're trying to restore, even that you can have a secondary copy on your DS site. And when you try to restore, you can restore individual mailboxes separately. Like you can restore, this is for the site, like SharePoint Online and Teams can also be restored. Majorly for the user mailbox, which includes your mails, contacts, and calendars. I'm choosing a mailbox here. Apply. So I can restore the entire mailbox either to same user mailbox or to a different user mailbox, or I can restore only the mails that I choose to restore. Like I can select all these mails and I can restore it to the same user mailbox or to a different user mailbox, or I can download it as a PST, can download it as an EML, download it as an MBox, or I can restore it to a different tenant or different organization completely. So that's for the mails, and even I can search the mails based on my requirement. And I have the OneDrive restore, any particular OneDrive that I can restore to the same user or to a different user. And the one more thing is I can restore to a custom location. That is locally, I can restore this data. And there is a calendar events and contacts and group chat. All these you can point it up to same user or to a different user as per the recovery options that is there. And you can also have a secondary copy of all these. And all these can be seen through from the reporting section. You have a complete dashboard for all your entities that is done so far. You have the backup report. It's a calendar based, as well as you have the backup report where you can check things up completely over here through this section. You can see through what was the warning that happened, what is the detailing. All these will be shown up. Even the details or incremental type, the size of the data and the compression, everything can be seen through. So this can be downloaded as in a CSV file format, or it can be filtered as per your requirement. All the schedules or either the full backups that you need can also be done. Now, you also have the email notifications. So you can select your email notification, enable the email notification, and add for success or failures, or only for endpoints. You can add that too. With the collective notifications that you can schedule those email notification as per your requirement as well. Then you have the ConnectWise, as I said, you have the PSA tool integrated, the ConnectWise ticketing. You can use that for that purpose. You also have the audit logs. So whatever the detailing that you're going to do in this console, it will be logged in for other users or the admin to check, like from where you have logged in and what has been done. All those audit logs is there. And then you have the automated data integrity check. So when you take an image-based backup, and if your hypervisor is enabled with a role specifically from on-prem backup softwares, where you can mount, it will ask you for an automated process. It will mount the data, it will boot the data, and it will take a screenshot of that boot screen of that virtual machine or the physical machine that you have taken a backup to ensure the data integrity. So this is an solution that we offer from our end. So these are all the options that we provide in the BDRShield. I just gave you an overview, but still we have a separate video link that explains how the BDR suite and BDR cloud initially was performing, which is going to be renamed as BDRShield in the near future. So this is what we offer from our end, my dear fellow men. So thank you so much everyone for joining this session, and that's it from my end so far.